So I'm Jessica Harris Heyworth, and I am the lead for the bone density service at Leamington New Forest Hospital, and I am also the line manager for the RDA team, and they are radiology department assistants. So a typical day will begin around about 8:30 in the morning for me, and it usually begins with I'm clinical 1 day a week. So my days can be varied, but a typical day would involve me checking in with my team. It would involve me sorting any shop floor issues out. It would involve me scanning a couple of patients. It would also probably involve a couple of service development meetings and team efficiency meetings, optimization of staff meetings, making sure that all my staff have everything they need to do their jobs that day. Their jobs are quite varied as well, and that would be like a typical day of mine. So the most rewarding part of my role would be I'm very patient-centered and focused with their care. I also enjoy seeing my team learning, developing and growing their skill bases and seeing them get the best out of themselves. I enjoy doing like supervisions and identifying areas of learning for individual members of the team, and I really take a lot of pleasure when things I may have signposted them to do have come to fruition and they've got that learning journey behind them and they're now using it in their roles. It just gives me a lot of satisfaction. So I was abroad to do quite a few apprentices now since I've been the manager. I'm really invested in continued learning. I think ultimately we just get a better caliber of staff member. It helps with retention, recruitment as well. It can be difficult in terms of in protecting that time. Sometimes as the apprenticeships go on, they begin quite, not easy, but they get harder as they go along. So it's just keeping that morale up and that learning, that ultimate goal of where you might be and where you could get to. Most of my apprentices I've mentored or managed over the last few years, they kind of sign on because of my enthusiasm anyway for the role, so they know that they've got my support all the time, and that really helps. My main goals are, I want them to have a little bit of fun doing. I want them to be infused. I want to get a more senior healthcare worker. I want to retain them if not in my department, I want them to retain them in the NHS. And I usually put them forward if it's something that they want to do, but it could be also something they've not thought about doing. So ultimately my goal might be quite selfish. I'm investing in them because I want them to stay with us. I want them to stay in the NHS. I want to provide the best patient care we can do, and I know that my staff are trained to the best of their ability, to the best that we can give them, the more skills, and ultimately that reflects back on the service that we develop here in radiology. So before I accept any of my staff onto an apprenticeship, we have like a commitment statement. I know I will look at my rota. I'd love to allow more than one member of staff at a time, but I have to look at the service needs and how many. I'm committed to my apprentices. So when I'm planning their time, I'm also future casting service. You know, we might have lots of staff off sick. I'm planning ahead. You have to plan ahead for investing in your member of staff. You have to be prepared for their protected day, their time off the job learning. For that day, you might be short-staffed, but you have to keep in mind that end goal of investing in your staff, and almost always we find a way around it. So we'll optimize staff in other areas, but before every member of staff begins their apprentice training, I will have looked at how we might deal with unforeseen eventualities. I work in radiology, so we have anything can happen. Machine breakdowns, but we might put on extra lists everywhere. Lots of staff being off sick. But my main goal every day is protecting that time, because again, selfishly, as I said earlier, I am going to get a better caliber of staff at the end of the apprenticeship. So we work together. So if we have any challenges, I expect my staff to come to me with solutions as well. I encourage that with them, so we'll work to try and find ideas, ways around things. There's flexibility. We aren't rigid in our ways of thinking, other than that end goal of investing and protecting that time in that member of staff so that they can get through their apprenticeship. I've actually had two. So I had two apprentices, and through protecting their time, even at the expense sometimes of service, not only did they go on both to gain distinctions, they were nominated for national awards for apprenticeships, and they both now have gone on to develop within their roles, and they now work for my bone density scanning team. So that was on the back of their really hard work, their dedication, their commitment. They were outstanding, I believe, in their class in terms of their work. Again, as I said earlier, selfishly, I've got a better caliber of staff. They're now working under my other team. So selfishly motivated, but I've proved that you invest in your staff member, and there are times when it's a little bit tricky, but having that integrity in your beliefs as a mentor, as a manager, then you might end up with the employees that I have now that, well, like my shining stars. So they see my confidence and my enthusiasm. Many of my staff don't come from healthcare backgrounds, but it's the person, not so much the background. We have training programs for people to go on to upskill in those areas. All my team know how enthusiastic I am about learning and sharing experiences and sharing everything we do. I have this saying, literally, we do it together. And I genuinely am invested in all of them. I expect that in return. I will work hard for you. I expect you to work hard for me. I will help you get where you need to do. But it's always a two-way situation. So they see my enthusiasm. That in turn has an effect on their confidence. We have an amazing management team for our radiology department assistants. So we're always looking out for each other. If we see areas of skill building that are required, we have regular one-to-ones. They're really important. And we just have that constant open line of communication. They are not left to it. They're not left to their own devices. My input is just as important as theirs. They can't do what they need to do if I'm not invested in them. I would say absolutely throw yourself into it. You do not know where these things will lead to. They are fun as much as they are hard work. be open-minded. Every day could be. I have had apprentices that think or thought they could breeze through and they knew a lot and they've taught themselves so much. I would consider myself one of those people as well. It will be harder than you think at times. Having a good manager is really important. And you just do not know what doors will open at the end. I think they are unbelievably fabulous value on the job training. You will not get a better education or career boost than doing an apprenticeship. Do you know, when I first undertook I sound like I should be going back to like the 18th century now. When I undertook my apprenticeship, it was everything today's before and after COVID. It was pre-COVID, so there wasn't as much flexibility. I had to go to all my classes at quite some distance away, which was okay. But the advent of Teams now, you're making it more accessible. So I think you have done things since I was an apprentice. Accessibility is really important. I can't think of anything that I would necessarily get you to improve on, because when I speak to my apprentices regularly, if they have had to miss a tutor group or a specific module cover, you've been flexible enough, I think, to go back on that, and that can happen. So it's nice to know that they aren't going to stress too much if they have missed something. Your tutors have never been more approachable, and I've met a lot of different tutors. Now they make each apprentice feel like their only apprentice, is all I can say. I've had that experience with a number of them, and I know they work super hard, so that is demanding of their time, and my apprentices will feed back the same as well. They just feel super valued and like they have all the time in the world for them, because they aren't easy. They're there to be challenged and try new things with the off-the-job training. I expect my staff to go out there and try new things and learn and question. I'm not hand-holding, I'm guiding, and that's how they'll learn and get those distinctions.